Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending upon where you're watching this from. Today, I am at the Delaware water gap, but a very favorite spot of mine called Tom's Creek. It's just absolutely gorgeous. A beautiful spring morning here. We can hear the babbling water behind me. In addition, there's an awful lot of birds that are out here. This is clearly one of my favorite places to photograph. Most of the time that I've been here, I've been in the winter time, and it's gorgeous then, but just as much breathtaking as it is here in springtime. One of my challenges today, however, is that we've got some bright sunlight peeking through the trees here. So my intention today is to utilize the built-in graduated neutral density filters that I have in my camera. I think we're going to have some good opportunities for that. I got some great foreground, but again, in the background, I've got some highlights that I really need some help with. And instead of me having to put a filter, a graduated ND filter on the camera, I'm going to do that with the internal one. So let's look at what we can do here. We'll take a couple shots. I'll share the results with you. I just took a series of shots on one of the lower portions of the Tom's Creek Trail, and I did it handheld, and I want to show you the comparison between using the graduated neutral density filter and of course without it. But in order to give you a true comparison and have a reasonable one-to-one comparison, I'm going to set up on a tripod, so I won't be changing my position or anything like that, so you can get a real true feel for how this works with using the internal camera system. Let's give it a go. But the one thing about Mother Nature is she's constantly leaving me with surprises, and in this case here, there was a beautiful area that was built up by a dam that was created, of course, with the fallen trees. None of that exists now, and that's much further downstream. So my composition that I'm planning to do here is going to change a little bit, but my intent will not. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing some internal graduated neutral density shots with the OM-1 MkII. And we're going to compare the results and see how this works. Let's give it a go. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm shooting this small waterfall in the foreground here, and I have the rapids from the waterfall and the waterfall as my primary subject, and then I'm looking back into the wooded area, and this is where my challenge is because I have some bright highlights that are there, and I suspect I'll be clipping those without using an ND filter. So I'm going to take that shot. I'm using the remote shutter release on this. My settings are F10 at 1/8 of a second, and I'm bracketing one stop down. And the reason that's important is because when I shoot with the graduated ND, I'm going to have to compensate for that just a little bit. But let's take a look at the shot as it is right now. Okay, I have that, and now I'm going to change the settings to utilize the graduated ND filter. The camera's internal, and I'm setting it for on. I'm using the graduated ND4, which is a medium balance, and my filter type is also on medium. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to adjust the center point as to where the graduated ND filter will take effect. And I'm going to do it just above the waterfall so I can compensate for the highlight that's there. Let's take a shot at this, and as I mentioned, I have to change the setting ever so slightly in order to get the one-stop differential, so I'm going to bring that down to 1/4 of a second, leaving all the other settings in place. And by the way, I'm shooting an ISO 200, and I'm going to use the remote trigger again here, and let's take a look and see what we can do with this. All right, from what I can see, it looks fantastic. We're not clipping any of the highlights. I want to get this back on the computer, of course, and take a look at it in detail. So I'm making my way further upstream, trying to find some compositions that would be worthy for the internal graduated neutral density filter. And as you can see over my shoulder, there's a couple spots here. I'm not sure if it's going to work because I'm a little bit at a distance and there's a pretty deep section of water right in front of me, but we'll still give it a try. Okay, my heart rate is going pretty quickly. I'm standing here at this very calm area. All of a sudden I look over my shoulder and I see a bear staring right at me. I'm going to see if I can't get some video of him. I did try to chase him off because he was getting a little too close. Let's take a look. I guess he's nowhere to be seen right now, but he was right at the very base here, and my heart rate's just starting to go down now. Anyway, interesting encounter along the way here. Well, that was some unexpected excitement. Still trying to get my heart rate in check after that bear encounter. Been coming up to the Delaware water gap for many, many years. And that's the first time I've ever had a bear encounter that close to me. I've seen bears up here before, but never, as I said, that close. And what scared me is he must have been there for a while and he didn't make any noise. All of a sudden he moved and obviously startled me pretty good. I yelled at him first to move, and then I tried to get the picture and it didn't quite work. So we'll see if there's some more excitement along the way here. I was anticipating the potential for some snakes and not bears, but one of the things about being in an environment like this, you just never know. So I've been shooting for a couple hours now and focusing on using the OM-1 MkII's internal graduated ND filter. And I must say, so far, I'm very impressed. I am getting results that I wasn't quite sure how it would work out, but they're turning out to be wonderful. And the amount of time saving, having to deal with that, the way in the past I would compensate for that would be to take a series of bracketed exposure shots and then put them together in post, or use a physical graduated ND filter. And the good news is it doesn't appear that any of that's going to be necessary anymore. The results, again, I'm looking at them on the back of the camera, are just surpassing my expectations. But when we get this on the computer, we'll be able to give it the true test. So heading further up this trail, looking for some additional compositions. So far, I've been very pleased with the way everything looks here. And as I mentioned, normally I'm up here in the winter months, not in the warmer months. And it's just absolutely beautiful, lush. I don't know if you can hear over my shoulder or not, but the water, the birds, etc., just absolutely fantastic. Let's continue on. So I'm coming up to a favorite spot again on this trail, which I really, really like. There's some nice foreground elements with rocks and moss on them. Gonna see if I can't get a couple shots here. Continuing today's trend with the internal graduated neutral density filters. Bugs are really getting bad right now. But in any event, let's go see what we can get here. Okay, I arrived at that spot I was telling you about that has the really pretty foreground. There's a bunch of boulders, little waterways leading into a valley, and I'm going to try to get close to a few of these rocks here. Again, shooting with the GND on this, and my composition is going to be one in which I try to get one of these little falls as my foreground and get that relatively close, and then try and capture all of the background. Let's take a look. Okay, so I moved slightly downstream from where I was just shooting, and there are some beautiful small waterways here. I'm going to shoot wide. I have the 8 to 25 on here. Full frame equivalent would be 16 to 50. And I'm going to probably shoot it almost completely wide. I'm going to do regular shot to show you what it is without the internal graduated neutral density filter, and I'm going to give it another shot, of course utilizing that. And I'm also going to try a high res shot just to give you a comparison of what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to do this without the tripod. I'm going to get a little lower here. Let's take a look at what we've got. So what I have right now, I'm at f9 1/8 of a second, and I'm shooting 200 ISO, and I'm bracketed down a full stop. And I'm going to be consistent with that when using the graduated ND filter, because I want to have an equal comparison with the same depth of field. So I'm going to shoot this just regular at this point, and we've got that. Now I'm going to engage the graduated ND. I'm shooting at a GND 4, and I'm using filter type medium, and I have the top of the line just about where the farce meets, which is where some of the high res is. So the other thing I got to do is compensate to keep the same exposure. So I'm going to go from an 1/8 of a second down to a 1/5 of a second. I'm completely hand holding this. I still have -1 bracketed shot on here. Let's take a look here. I'm going to take a peek on the back of the camera, and I think we nailed this. So pretty happy with these results, and going to try a few more in this area. We'll see what we can come up with. Okay, time for a much needed break. I must say that my day today has been very successful. I'm very happy with the results. Mother Nature's been very cooperative. I don't have any harsh sun. It is overcast, so it's creating a little bit of a challenge in the sky, but again, using the graduated ND filter built into the camera has helped me immensely with that. In addition, I'm also shooting some high res 14-bit images, so again, more flexibility with the dynamic range. I'm going to start working my way back down the trail now. Hopefully I won't run into any more bears as I come across the same area. But in any event, the long and short of it is I'm very happy, looking forward to seeing the results of these. I'm working my way back down to the trailhead. As I mentioned, it's been an absolutely fabulous day. The morning the light was just right for what I was trying to accomplish. The challenge I have right now is that the sky is really starting to get overcast, so it's probably a pretty good time for me to be heading back. I am most anxious and excited to see the results from some of these images of today's shoot. So I will talk to you later.